It's Black Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
Grand Rising Loungers. I hope everybody is doing as great as me today. Yes, I am going to show these infamous void Zoom calls today. Okay. If I got as much time as I can. One of the videos is about 47 minutes long. And the other video, I believe it's about 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes or so as well. Okay. So either way, the reason why I am showing this NDA and non-compete proof is because in that conversation, we also discussed the fact that Drea did not want to work with Shakim and the reasons why. Okay. And we talked about that not only with me and Drea, but Shakim was on the line as well. Also, we talked about money, okay? And if in the event with if we were going to actually make money, whether or not, what we would be paying him and why. We talked about all of these things. The reason that I'm showing all this is because I listened to Ray Triggs the other day. He had a live on Monday, and Shakim and Breaking the Culture were talking on that live. And in them talking, the conversation shifted to, how Breaking the Culture was trying to tell Shakim that she doesn't understand why, quote unquote, all this blame has been allegedly shifted on her. She doesn't understand where this is all coming from. And she has all this proof and evidence that I was completely against Shakim. I was trying to stop his shine. I was trying to stop him from being part of the void and trying to stop him from being part of everything. So the issue that I take with that is, number one, Breaking the Culture made it very clear that she did not want to work with Shakim and her reasons for why. Okay. And she says all this on this Zoom call. So it's not like, I came up with all this and I decided, no, we're not going to work with you, Shakim, because I don't want to. It was because I was working with her as a partner in this alleged quote unquote podcast. And because she came to me with this podcast, of course, with us being partners in the podcast, it would be both of our decision on who's involved in the podcast, what's involved in the podcast, and what happens. Because she did not want to go on board with Shakim, I then therefore could not make Shakim a part of the business, right? I couldn't make him, be in on everything concerning the business because I had one partner who was not interested in him being a part of the business. Okay. So I then told her, yes, okay, I will take Shakim under my wing. I will make him, he will be under me as a contractor because I trust him and because I don't see a reason why we couldn't work with him. But I understand that you don't want to work with him. And because of that, then I will take full responsibility for him. She understood that. That was an understanding that we had. It was no shade on Shakim. It was literally because I have a partner who doesn't want to work with someone that I brought to the business. Okay. So if that's the case, and we're both partners in this business, then I can't turn around and make decisions by myself about this person. We both would have to be in on those decisions. So that conversation was made very clear to Shakim on video. Okay. So I'm not really sure why now, I guess they have forgotten the conversation or whatever. And, they're pretending now that, oh, really? I can't believe, that, T-Pre was against me all this time. But in actuality, you're very aware of how things went and why things went the way that it did. So I'm going to go ahead and just show the public now because I just think it's ridiculous that I'm being gaslit over this situation as if this podcast was my idea, as if this podcast was something I came up with, and as if I had all the decision making over this podcast. At the end of the day, I was invited to New York just like Shakim was invited to New York. How is it that I then being invited to this place, now I have control over every move and decision that we're making when we're in New York and when we're at your house going through this whole alleged uh, um, photo shoot, Rich. By the way, guys, she is now taking these photos and she's blowing them up and making them look like I'm this huge, big, fat woman. And, I'm this big, fat, ugly, nasty black woman. And that's those are photos she's trying to show you guys. It is so hilarious. It's not even funny. I can't wait. And I'm going to go and reach out and see if I can find this photographer because I have a problem with her having images of mine and then using those images against me and making them appear like as if there's something that they're not. So as soon as I find this professional photographer, he's going to have an issue with giving out my images to her. And I'm going to need a copy of those images so that I can show you guys what they really look like. But yeah, I just find that funny that that's happening. But either way, I am definitely going to show these Zoom calls today. As much time as I have. I've got a few things I got to do later, but I've got a little bit of time this morning. So I'm going to show you guys at least one of the Zoom calls, and I may come back and do the other one tomorrow or another day. But either way, the purpose of showing them is because, like I said, you don't get to just lie on me and just say what you want, Break-In, without the evidence and the proof actually being there. You don't just get to use your white privilege, like I said on Darrell's channel, and I meant. You don't get to just use your white privilege for everybody to just believe you because you think you're better. Okay? You don't just get to do that. You don't just get to say, believe what I say because I'm me. No, you have to show evidence and proof of what you're saying. So I have the evidence and proof of the actual conversations that we had. And again, that's up to you, how you choose to feel about it. But yeah, what you're not going to do is lie and pretend that these conversations didn't take place. Now, before I get into that, I actually want to talk about this email, okay? Because I am having a major problem with an email that I received earlier today, and I can care less who the hell has a problem with me talking about this because I felt extremely gaslit and I don't appreciate it. I'm not going to say who sent it. I'm going to at least give you that much respect, okay? Even though you don't show any respect to me. But I'm going to absolutely read this email and then I'm going to read my response. Because again, I felt very gaslit and I'm going to talk about this very in depth. But hold on one second. Let me do a little bit of housekeeping. Bear with me just a moment. Okay. So I see you, Binary, and you said you just got here. Did you explain the $20 per episode you wanted to pay the very talented Mr. Shakim? Yep, I'm glad you brought that up because that is actually talked about in the Zoom call, okay, with me, Shakim, and with Breaking the Culture of Silence, okay? We tell him exactly how much we were looking to possibly pay him if we decided, if and when we actually start making money. And we made it clear that that would go up or, whatever, as we started making money. So I'm glad you asked that question because that actually segues right into it. But anyway, let's go ahead and read this email because, again, I felt extremely gaslit by this email. Now, let me give you guys a little bit of background on this, okay? A few months back, I had been getting these messages that there's this Discord. Actually, there's a couple of them. But that there's this Discord in particular that I had a moderator at the time that was going in this Discord and disparaging my name in this Discord. Okay. And I thought it was crazy. Make a change. You can wait. If you don't like it, you can come back. That was easy, wasn't it? Anyway. Let me turn these comments off so I can just go ahead and finish. So anyway, I just found it crazy that this person was a moderator of mine. and they were constantly in my members onlys, um, taking part in the members onlys with me and We on Lock and some others. And shout out to him. But this person was always around and, always having a good time. And at least that's what it appeared to be. During that time, when I was doing these members onlys and doing some things, this person was going back and sharing my information from members onlys and conversations with this Discord. Okay. They also were talking trash about me and doing this other stuff. So it ended up being told to me exactly who this person was. They revealed who they were in the Discord, even though they were trying to tell me that they're this Black woman. But in fact, that's not the case. They're actually not. So this person was talking all this trash in this Discord amongst other folks. Okay, y'all know who y'all are. And they happen to have someone or a couple people who were also in that Discord that were coming back and telling me what was being said. Okay. So I mentioned some of it. I didn't mention all of it. I just let it be known that I was aware of it. And, and then I left it at that. But the conversations have still continued. It has been well over a year, okay, that these conversations have been continuing. What happens in these conversations is, and I know this because I've gotten screen recordings, I've gotten all kinds of stuff, so I know what's being said, okay? And it's been an ongoing thing. Narratives get spun in these Discords in regards to me. All different types of narratives have been spun in these Discords, okay? I mean, you name it, it's been said. I'm not going to say everything, but you name it, it's pretty much been said. So the narrative gets spun in the Discord. They have their continuous conversations in regards to that. And then they come back to the sector with these narratives, and they expect me to answer questions based off of their narratives. Or they expect me to behave a certain way based off of the narratives that they create, okay? Which I find super funny and I find crazy, okay? But this is literally what I have been experiencing with some of these folks. Now, everybody hasn't done it. Even some people that have also been in these Discords are not the ones that are saying all this stuff and talking all this trash. There are some people who say stuff here and there, say stuff every so often. But very often, these conversations take place, okay? So what I find funny is when I react to these things or when I say something about these things, I am then turned around and gaslit for doing so. How dare you stand up for yourself? How dare you debunk our narratives about you? How dare you stand up for yourself and say anything? You're just supposed to be the little Black girl that sits in the corner and shuts the fuck up and lets everybody just slap on you and beat on you. And how dare you open up your mouth and stand up to us? That is literally the information and the emotion and the energy that I receive from some of these people. Okay. So I've continued on and on and on. I've removed that person as a moderator a long time ago, probably about a year ago now. And I haven't heard from or talked to this individual since then. I haven't said anything to them. I've never stood out and pulled them out of anything, never did any of that. I just let them go on. And I know to this day, they are still talking shit about me. They've been doing it. I've been getting, trust me, I know that they're still talking about me. So I let it go. I, again, haven't said anything, and I moved on. And this is what this idiot bitch sent me early this morning. Hi, I hope you're doing well. Seems like you hope I'm doing well. LOL. Seems like the sector has been treating you pretty rough lately. I wasn't going to email you, but all of this connects with what actually is said in these Discords. I was critical of you only because I feel you are better than folks that disrespect you and scammers. I'm going to stop right there because no, you were more than critical of me over the podcast and all of that stuff. You were doing all of this stuff way before Breaking the Culture came on the scene. So stop it. You said you were because you're better than folks that disrespect you, but yet you are one of the main folks disrespecting me. The main folks. I know you could do your own podcast and didn't need the voidless shout. I apologize if I made you feel some type of way, quote unquote. However, I felt you would not have handled my opinions well. The reason why you felt that way is because y'all 15 and 20 little discorders get together and talk so much about me and then come back ganging up on me in chats, ganging up on me on panels, and then you get cussed the fuck out, and now I'm supposed to be not taking an opinion well. No, of course, any human being is not going to sit and just allow people to continue to spin narrative after narrative after narrative after narrative and then answer these narratives as if they're facts. So I don't care what you think. So, and I don't accept your apology. And then you said, do your own podcast with your club family. What the fuck are you talking about? And have them sponsor you. Maybe some of the clubs will sponsor you. You sound stupid giving me that dumbass advice. Last, the person that was quick to run you. Now listen to this. This is the gaslighting part. The person that was quick to run you that information, God bless them for trying to turn something that was opinions into something nasty. When that is what you guys were doing. You were turning your Discord into something nasty. And then these folks, and it was more than one person, were coming back and telling me the fuck shit y'all were doing. And you have the nerve to gaslight the person for telling me, and the people for telling me, and then gaslight me for knowing, and gaslight me for speaking on it. How dare you? And then you said, God bless them for trying to turn something that was opinions into something nasty. A bone carrier that don't share their own bones. Ain't that some shit? But you out here dropping bones. You out here carrying bones yourself. And then you want to turn around and talk about the person who was nice enough to bring that information to me. The people who were kind enough to bring that information to me. You're mad that they told me. You're mad that I know. You're not mad that you were talking shit and that you was doing the most and creating narratives and spinning bullshit. You're not mad about that. You're mad that I know. You're mad that people fuck with me enough to come and tell me the fuck shit you motherfuckers choose to do. That is what you're mad about. And this was my response to you. All while you talk about me like a dog and continue to spread narratives. Now you have quote unquote advice. Your judgment of me and talking about me was more important than actually telling me your actual feelings. I could have then told you mine, but instead I was talked about. And I'm expected to just take all that. Well, no one knows what it's like to be a creator and then have people secretly getting together just to lie, make up new shit, and bring that all back to me as if it's all facts. Most issues I have faced have come from y'all little discussions, even if you don't admit it. So how dare you attempt to reach out with quote unquote concern? You know damn well you have been one of the main characters praying for my downfall. And the only part about this you seem to care about is whether I tell on you or who told me. SMH. So you can't make this shit up if you want to. Look, boo, keep the same damn energy. You don't like me and never have. Keep talking about me. Keep spinning your narratives. And this is what you like. And clearly, this is what you want. Deuces. I don't need any more gaslighting from people who are out here purposely talking shit and purposely creating narratives and purposely on some bullshit. And now because you have this, now, because all this fuck shit is coming for me and fuck shit is coming at me, now your guilty conscience wants to come back in the middle of the night and apologize. Get the fuck out my face, bitch. And stay the fuck out my motherfucking face. And like I said, keep that motherfucking energy and keep doing whatever you do over in your little discords. Now, there are some who I've spoken to who are also in the same Discord, but at least they've kept the same fucking energy and they've kept it a fucking beam with me. They don't try to act like they got my back and they really here and they really support, and they know they fucking don't. They're honest. I can fuck with a person who's honest, but not a person who sits and makes up shit and then tries to gaslight me for the fuck shit you made up and the fuck shit you created. I can care less, but at the same time, I do care, because I get tired of coming out here and being a content creator, and every time I turn around, I got a motherfucker telling me what the fuck I feel and what the fuck I want. I got people always constantly changing and switching up narratives and changing stories to what they want it to be. And then I'm supposed to turn around and answer you as if your story is fact, as if your narrative is truth. And that is the part that disgusts me. That is the part that gets you cussed the fuck out. And then when you get cussed the fuck out, see, you don't take opinions. You don't take people's opinions. You don't want to listen to advice. It's not advice. You're not trying to give advice. You're trying to tear me down. And you know that. But what you don't understand is I know that too. And I'm not about to just take it. And that is the part you don't like. And that is not my problem. So keep the same fucking energy, bitch. Because I don't give a fuck. I don't fuck with you, and you know why. And then you don't fuck with me. And it's been over a year. So keep it where it is. And there you have it. Now let's go ahead and get into this this whole thing here, because I really think that this is crazy. And I'm going to get into this Zoom call because I definitely think that this is crazy. Okay, so make a change. You said T-Pre long stroking us with these receipts. Long stroking, you mean? What's up, Miss Murph? You in the clouds. I see you. You said this is starting to feel scripted. Well, it's not. You said Ghost, that narrative ain't sticking, fam. You said, I thought everything chilled out last night. Yeah, everything chilled out with me and Star. I think I'm cool with her. But I am motherfucking damn sure going to play the Zoom call like I said I'm going to do. Because what people aren't going to do is pretend that they don't understand where this conversation of payment came in, and all this other stuff, because these were conversations that we had all together. So why are we acting like in the public that this isn't a conversation that we had all together? You guys also are going to hear about these contracts here, who actually sent the contract to him, the questions that he had regarding the contracts, and how that all was going to go. Okay. Because again, it's just crazy that everybody just has so much to say and pretend. Hey, Tiff P, I appreciate you. You said, I'll never get an invite. Girl, you need to go over there because I'll be the hot topic over there. You said, who sent the email to her last night? What email to who? I don't know what you're talking about. You said, are the bone carriers keeping things going? Yes, the bone carriers, quote unquote. It's crazy. It's just, like I said, I feel so gaslit by that, considering the fact that this person is one of the main people that's been out here talking the most shit. So, like, we're not going to pretend with that. All right, guys, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and start this Discord conversation. All right. So let's go ahead. I mean, not the Discord. We're going to start this Zoom call that took place between me, Breaking the Culture, and Shakim. This happened April of 2022. All right, so the recording has started. So welcome to, this is kind of like your formal welcome to the podcast, okay? As you know, it is a shout into the void podcast. Myself and Andrea are the owners of the podcast, okay? And you are a contractor to the podcast or employee, more or less contractor. So you will have a 1099, okay? Now, the beauty of this though is that, and sometimes I forget who actually does know my real name here in the sector. You are one of the only people who knows that my name is Tanisha. So you do know that. So that will be, those names will be, all of that stuff will be on there. That was the reason why I sent that Zoom to you with that name and all that stuff, so that you have a full understanding, like, okay, this is her actual name, and this is my business name, and this is what I use in business, okay? So D. Durrell did fucking dox my motherfucking ass for no fucking reason, but he didn't have the right address, because Catherine Brown. Shout out to D. Durrell. Yes, my name is Tanisha. I never found my address. I don't know how. I think she really wasn't looking, honestly, because it's public. My address is fucking public. Like, it really is. So I don't know how she didn't get it. But either way, yeah. So you have that you have that information. But I think you knew that. I knew you knew that anyway, because I used to send you emails through my Tanisha Price address. So it's not like you didn't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, y'all already know who the fuck I am.
Yeah, but I don't want everybody else in the sector knowing,
right,
information, of course, but it doesn't matter per se, especially now, because now that we're doing this business stuff and I'm doing some other things, they're going to have to know. So no, make a change. CB did not serve the quote unquote correct person. I have never lived in Philadelphia a day in my life. I've never lived in Pennsylvania a day in my life. And that is where this alleged Tanisha was served. And that was not me. So no, she never served me. No. My real name. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really fucking matter. But I'm still not putting that out there like that.
Right, not until you actually need to. But by the way, Shakim, when you look at the contract, it's going to have my address on it. For you, you will have to update it. Like, before you sign it, you'll have to update it with whatever address you want to use for yourself. Mm-hmm. But for the momentary, I just gave you my address because it wouldn't let me complete it without an address.
Okay, got you.
Now let's break that down. If she is the one that's completing this address and sending it out, how is it me? How is this all on me now? Okay, you guys are listening to this in real time. Okay, so how is this all on me if she is the one filling out the information and sending it to him? You guys heard that.
But you can always, because I'm sending them as PDFs. So as long as you have like the PDF downloader or whatever, or if you have DocuSign, you can always use DocuSign as well, which I would put in here. I'll give you till Friday, but if you need more time, just let us know to go over them, because the date is Friday. But if you end up going over that, just let us know, so that way we can obviously change the dates to match when we all sign.
Okay. Like, if you could let us know by Thursday, hey, I need a little bit more time. I need to go over this, or something. Let us know.
I'm gonna file it with the state. Like, I'm gonna actually have it filed, so that way everybody is protected. We're protected, you're protected. I just want to make sure that it's fair for everybody. You know what I mean? So we're gonna actually file the contracts, so that way, if you gotta sue us, you can sue us. If we need to sue you, we can sue you. But no one's suing anyone.
So you just heard her say she was going to file these contracts, not me. She was going to file these contracts. You guys are hearing this, but it's all my fault. Right, we're not suing nobody.
But you gotta put those disclaimers out there. But that way you just know it's legit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll put, please update, I'm just gonna put it in here real quick, just so you know. Please update your address, whatever address you wanna use, if it's PO box, home address, I really don't give a shit. It just needs to be somewhere to where you can receive a physical copy of this contract because it's gonna get notarized. So that way you can have a physical copy, but then you'll also get a digital copy.
So who, again, guys, you guys see who is doing all the footwork, who is doing all the typing, who is doing all the creating. It is Drea, not me. It is her. Let's continue.
Okay.
So the 1099 and all that paperwork, I think we have to get you a W.
Right, it will be a 1099. So as soon as you sign your contract, we will send you over an official 1099, because you can actually, any money that you get from this, you can obviously claim it on your taxes or don't claim it on your taxes, totally up to you. We have nothing to do with that. But if you wanted to file taxes for this, you can. You will get an actual 1099.
Got you.
So we can't send that until you sign the contract.
Right.
So I believe all you need is just to update your address. I don't think there's anything else that you need to update. And once we send over the contracts, you will have to, once we send out the 1099 and stuff, which I just sent you the contracts, once you get that, you will have to let us know how you want to be paid. Whether, personally, I don't want to use Cash App if we can avoid it, because it's just hard for tax purposes for yourself and for us. It'll make your life a living hell to try to use Cash App. But if you want to use like Zelle, Venmo, or direct deposit, that's fine too. And I'll send you the form for that, because you'll be paid. Like, we'll obviously go over that once you sign your contract.
So binary, I'm glad you said that, because actually I showed an email where she introduced the entire podcast deal to me. She introduced the entire podcast deal. Everything we were doing, this entire situation was from her. So it doesn't matter what narrative you try to spin. The actual evidence of all of this is there. I'll show it again. I ain't got no problem doing that. But we're going to go ahead and play this video right now. But thanks for saying that, because no, baby, no. This was totally her idea. She approached me with the idea, and she gave me all of the entire makeup of exactly how this podcast was supposed to go. So you can try to spin that narrative for her sake, but no, boo. That's not what happened. Let's continue.
But you will be paid, you know, on certain times, certain dates, so you can expect your money when your money's supposed to be there.
Right.
Like, it's a legit job. Like, we're not gonna fuck you with your money. So it'll all be legit. So I would prefer, if you can, not to use Cash App. That's like the only thing I hate is fucking Cash App.
I won't be using, we can't use Cash App. That's just, it's not good for business.
It's just hard when it comes to tax purposes. It's
Right.
just hard to show where that money's coming from, because you're actually gonna get paid through like payroll. Like, it'll be a payroll system that will pay you when it's supposed to pay you.
Exactly.
You don't have to worry about us fucking with your money. You're gonna know when you're getting paid, who's paying you, what time of the day, you know, typical job. You know how your job is, it's a payroll. But I sent it to you. Let me know if you get it or not. I don't know if I sent it from my regular email or if I sent it from the Break of the Culture. It came from one.
Yep, I got a NDA and a non-compete agreement.
Correct. And both are just different contracts. We can go over them together if you want.
Yes,
now
binary.
before
You
we
can't
go,
help
or
yourself.
you can go over them by yourself. It's up to you.
Okay.
And as you can see, I believe it's on the non-compete, you see my address under your name. When you go into DocuSign, just change it. And if you can't change it, if it doesn't let you, just email me when you send back your document signed. Just email me with the address that you want to be put there, because that's where basically your pay stub, quote unquote, is going to go and all that.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't have any questions like off the top of my head, but if you have anything you like, you want to highlight that may not be obvious, feel free.
Yeah, I can just go over them real quick. We can do a quick brief run through with them real quick. So Which
Well,
one do you
before
have?
you do
up right
that,
now?
before you guys do that, I had one question for you, Shakim. That way we can get this out the way.
Okay.
Are you definitely coming on the 6th or are you coming on the 7th? Because we need to know. That way we can block out the Airbnb for you. If not, we have to have that information tonight because Danny
Yeah.
is like, we got to get that tonight. So now you guys hear where I am saying to him, we need to have travel plans because Danny wants to take the Airbnb off the market. And in order for him to do that, he needed to have travel plans from Shakim. Okay. That is not coming from me. I do not have control over Danny. I do not have control over their Airbnb. This is Breaking the Culture's boyfriend. Okay. So again, Breaking the Culture is the one that would be talking, that has told me this shit. This came from her, not from me. This came from Breaking the Culture because she was talking to her man. Okay. But again, because Breaking the Culture did not want to work with Shakim, which you guys will hear in a few minutes, I had to bring him in under me. And so therefore I was explaining this to him on this video. But let's go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I'll be there on the
only thing is
6th.
you have to
You're
block those.
100% sure because they would end up missing money if they block this out and then you're not able to come. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, okay. So we just wanted to make that clear.
Right, yeah, because he was asking me today, because he just wanted to make sure, he's like, are we blocking out those days or not? Because I have to pull them off of our Airbnb calendar, so that way we're not like, someone doesn't book it. But if you can't do the 7th.
Grand Rising, Alan. I appreciate you being in the building. Shout out to you. And a Nova Real Show, I appreciate you as well. Black Einstein Productions, I appreciate you. You said little bathroom sector. No. You said at this point, Binary, you just an unpaid participant. You know it. Binary always up in here double dutching with the bitches and shit. You said Ghost, that's not a bad thing. That's a very bad thing, sir. But let's continue.
Which I know you said you can, but if something were to arise and you can't, just try to let me know by the end of the week so that we can just make sure that we don't block those days off. Because I want to block it off now because that area does book up quick, especially with spring coming. And if you can't, but you still want to shoot, we can always push it out. The photographer is available the week of it was the 20-something, he said. Let me see. He was available after that. Let me just double check. Okay.
So Nova, I appreciate you, but actually this is the Zoom call is on my computer. It belongs to me and I had their consent to record. So therefore I can absolutely show this by law. I looked this up. This was something that I looked up a while ago and I ran it by an attorney. And yes, I can absolutely show these calls and these Zoom calls because they belong to me. So yes, I can show them. But shout out to you for concern.
Okay, so he was also available the weekend of the 20th. So it would be the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd. He's also available that weekend, and he wouldn't have a problem coming up and shooting. And we actually, he wouldn't charge us really much shit to do it. So it could be either or weekend. Just let me know if you can by, I would say, Wednesday night. You're muted.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay, yeah. So, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I looked over it briefly.
I knew that wasn't you. I knew that wasn't.
I guess like when it comes to the payment part, were you saying that
you can block them?
is there like a direct deposit form somewhere in here, or
So no,
we haven't even
signed the contract. So once you sign the
gotta
contract,
sign this
it's
part.
the non-compete. So this isn't even your pay. This has nothing to do with your pay at all.
But that's gonna
That
be
can
a separate
totally
contract.
different thing, and that will come with your W-4, and that can be discussed. But these are just the non-compete and the NDA. That's all it is. Basically, I can just run through them really quick. It would be completely separate, but I can't give you the pay and stuff until you sign these because, say for instance, you say no, but then we bring someone else on and then you're like, well, shit, they was offering me X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Now it's not, it infringes on the non-compete. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So, and that's just the legality of it because you're actually getting paid. Like this isn't like you get paid if we get paid. No, you're getting paid. You're gonna get paid. So because you're an actual contractor, so you're contracting your services to us. So this is to protect you as well, which you'll see once you read it and you go through it. But, and again, if there's any questions that you have with it or things that you're like, well, I don't know, don't feel like you can't ask or anything. Definitely ask because you're putting your signature to this.
Now, before we go any further, Shakim, I'm actually glad that you're here, right? Because I'm very confused about why you are so confused in regards to this money, in regards to payment, in regards to how, payment was supposed to be distributed and all this stuff, if and when we got to some actual money in the podcast, because this conversation was had in this Zoom call. So why now, what I'm confused about now is why you're coming off to the public like you never knew this and you never understood where all this came from when we had this conversation all together. But we're going to go ahead and continue with that. Again, I understand you being upset in regards to the conversation that I had with Breaking the Culture, okay? I talked with you about that. I gave you full context of that conversation. And I've taken full responsibility. So I'm not really sure what else you want, but I also particularly don't understand why and where this confusion allegedly is coming in. But we're going to go ahead and play this.
You know what I mean? You're binding yourself to something. So definitely, I always say no question is a dumb question. But I'll just run through them. So if we go through the non-compete, it lets you know that you're being employed by us for the position of a sub co-podcaster. So basically, you're just the third party to our podcast. In addition to that, you would cover any position or responsibility that we all agree to, and we have to all agree to it, and it has to be in writing. So if we contract you to make T-shirts for us, we would have to add that into the contract.
I'm glad you said that too, Binary, because we did have a conversation clearly because I am, we were talking about starting a podcast. So we had multiple conversations prior. Okay. It's funny because she has a copy of that Zoom call. I don't have a copy of that one. She has a copy of the original Zoom call between me and her where we discussed all of this stuff. Will she show it? I doubt it because she knows it'll corroborate everything that I'm saying. You said this stuff, hey Spottum, you said this stuff is feeling more and more scripted by the day, but let's continue. Nope, not scripted at all. You said, Ray, I thought that the line was crossed already between T-Pre and Breaking the Culture. I don't know if Ray is in here or not, but he's blocked in my chat, so I don't know what's going on with that. You said, so we did definitely have a conversation prior to this Zoom call, but I'm not sure how in that conversation I was the one that was saying, oh no, I don't want Shakim a part of anything. And the reason why I didn't want that is because Breaking the Culture was saying she does not want to work with this man. I was vouching for him. And I was like, no, he's going to be fine. Everything would be fine. We've worked out whatever issues we had in the past. And here we go. But if you don't trust him, then I will take it under my wing. I will take this under my wing, and I will make it very clear to him that he will not be part of anything concerning the business branding, but he would be part of the deal with, he would be part of the actual podcast as a person that comes on and speaks. That was the understanding between me and her, and this is what we presented to him. As far as money, we literally went over that conversation with each other. I may have that in an email, actually. I have to look it up. But me and her did go over that, and then we presented that to him as any other business would do, okay? And then we discussed these things with him in this Zoom call. So again, how is it that if she didn't agree to it, or if it was something that she didn't want, why didn't she say that in this Zoom call? But we're going to go ahead and continue.
It lets you know that you can't compete with us for 1 year. So basically, not saying that you can't have your own podcast or anything like that, because you can. Basically, you can't do anything that would compete with us. So like if we're doing a podcast about whatever, and you try to take like someone that comes from our, like say for instance, we were to branch off and you were to be like, and we bring, I don't fucking know, John P up on the show, and you're like, let me pull John P and let me talk about exactly what they're talking about, exactly how they're talking about it, and it breaks it down, then obviously that's competing. You can't use like, if we're using certain music, like not obviously things that are copywritten, but like if we make a song, like if me and T3 were to make a song and you try to use that song on your channel, that's competing. No solicitation. You know what soliciting is? That's basically you can't pull people from our podcast. Like you can't take our contractors. Like if we hired someone and you're like, ooh, that's a really dope podcast, so let me bring them to my podcast, that's competing. So you can't do it for a year. And that's being employed with us. Conflict of opportunities is basically that you can't be on our podcast and another podcast at the same time, unless it is your own podcast. If it's your own podcast, that's one thing. You cannot join another podcast without written permission. Now, granted, if someone calls you, if fucking 50 Cent calls you and says, come on our podcast, we're obviously not gonna fucking block that.
Yeah, right. I'm like, you better bring me to that.
Exactly. Like, we're not gonna fuck with you on that. But if it's something on the same level as us, what we're doing, you can't compete with us while you're working with us. So basically, because it will also be considered selling trade secrets and things like that, and it's all in here. But basically, you can't be on our podcast and then be on, I don't know, Photons, because Photon will be equal to us. You can't be on Photons. But could you do like our podcast and then 50 Cent's podcast? Sure.
Yeah.
But it just can't be competing. Like, because we obviously aren't competing with 50 Cent, it's not on our level, or we ain't on his level. So that's the no competing, which it breaks it down even further, like which you can go in and see. Notices, anytime, if there is, notices is basically if there's anything like that comes up legally, like say some wild shit happened on our platform and the feds come to you and it's like, yo, boom, 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 you got to actually reach out to us and tell us. Or if you wanted to quit the show, you have to give us a written notice. If we want you to quit the show, we have to give you a written notice. Just typical job shit, basically, because it's an actual job. So that is the non-compete. And then for you, the non-disclosure, it's an NDA, which obviously you know what an NDA is, but just to break it down, it lets you know that you are our contractor, we're your client, basically. So in a sense, it's like, you know, you're bringing the service and we're your client. Trying to see what there might be that you need to know that you wouldn't common sensely know. You know confidential information, obviously anything that's confidential of ours, you can't disclose it. And then vice versa for us, we can't disclose your confidential stuff too. So this protects you too. So basically anything that I'm saying that you can't do, we can't do either. Just so you're aware. Like if I say you can't be on the podcast, we can't be on the podcast. If I say you can't disclose confidential information about our podcast, we can't do it either. It has to stay within, you know, what happens in this house stays in this house. Let's see, avoiding conflict, no solicitation. That was in the other one, so you kind of know that. Ownership lets you know that you acknowledge and agree that all rights, titles, and interests and any confidential information remain exclusive property of the client, which is us. So basically all of anything as far as pertaining to the podcast, whether it is the rights to it, the title, the interest, confidential information, meaning like pay, how we structure notes, meetings, minutes from our things, you know, our behind the scenes, any of that stuff. You know, obviously, it stays behind the scenes, and we own it. Let's see. If you were to leave the podcast, you would either have to destroy the files or you would have to return all confidential information. So if you decided that you wanted to leave the podcast, you can't hold on to our content. And if you do hold on to it, you can't ever release And that's any content that we all created together. And it's the same way. Like if I were to do that with you, you know, if you left, we can't do the same thing with you. And obviously, anytime that we were to, it would have to be within written notice. We would need a written notice and everybody has to agree on it. We agree that we will go through arbitration before we take it to court, meaning that we would try to figure shit out behind the scenes on our own. And if we can't, then obviously we can go into arbitration, which is basically mediation. And if that doesn't work, then we go to court. But again, we're not obviously hoping to go there ever. Termination, you can agree to leave us at any time that you want.
Okay, hold on one second, guys. Before I go any further, I'm actually going to share this screen real quick because Binary had a question of whether or not this was still my idea, right? So again, I'm going to show you guys on April 13th where I got an email from Breaking the Culture of Silence. Everybody knows that's her email address, okay? I got an email from her on April 13th about a shout into the void. And then she talks about it, okay? And then she also sent over what the shout into the void was supposed to be about. So she pretty much wrote up everything that she took, like a template from a podcast, from How to Make a Podcast, and she put all this together on here. So this came from Drea. This came from Breaking the Culture. This did not come from me. I did not make this up, but as you guys can see, according to the topics, right? Because you guys know I do Atlanta child murders. So as you guys can see, clearly we did talk prior, okay? Because we decided these were the topics that we were going to discuss to start with. So I was going to talk about the Atlanta child murders. T-Pre did a 3-part series also on the web and Discovery. So you guys can see that these are conversations clearly that we did have, you know, prior to the Zoom call with Shakem. But of course we had to have a Zoom call prior to him. But no. This was her idea. I never came up with any of this stuff. This is all from her. But let's go ahead and continue with this video.
Want to say tomorrow, I don't want to do this. You have that right. You just need to put it in written notice and we would do the same. Governing law of New York right now is the governing place where all of the rules and regulations go by New York state law.
So unfortunately, Ms. Murph, Ray has been blocked in this chat. He got blocked a while ago from Nikki and them, and I never unblocked him, just simply because he's just always coming for me. So, you know, I really don't have a reason to unblock him at this point. I really don't care. But at the end of the day, yes, so it's not he got blocked again. He was already blocked, Ms. Murph, just so you know. Let me read some more of these comments here. You said, damn, good thing Rod didn't join. That was a bad deal. You said, damn, did someone clip Ray's wings? Now I cannot see Ray. Oh, I don't know. But he should have been blocked already, unless he came in here again as somebody else. You said, Mac, you need an X-ray vision to see Ray, bro. You said, so this was the cut and paste contract that she's explaining. Yep. That's the cut and paste contract that allegedly is my fault, and it's all me. You said, so you mean Shakem can scream T-Pre a bitch and still keeps his mod and isn't lied on? Okay, I see. Oh, Stefan, you ain't your feelings, baby. You said, can someone tell me the last time an employer gave them a contract and the employer sat with them and explained to them line by line what everything in the contract means? You've never signed a contract and didn't have it explained to you what it all means? I don't understand what you're talking about. Come on now, make a change. You stretching it. You said April 13th, conveniently after Friday the 13th. Very unorthodox at Make a Change, but let's see where this goes though. Okay, but I don't understand. I don't know what y'all mean that's unorthodox. I've definitely had contracts explained to me before I go over it. You know, I go over a contract with somebody. So what do you mean? I'm not understanding. But y'all go ahead. Let's continue.
And then I put on here that we have until Friday to sign it, but obviously if you need more time, that's fine. Just let us know. And if you have questions, let us know. If you want to have someone look at it, you're fine with that too. Yeah, just let us know. Like if there's anything that you're like, what the fuck is this? You know, just tell us. And then once you sign those, which is, you know, once you sign that, then because you're still not balancing anything until you sign your actual contract as far as.
And keep in mind, guys, this conversation that we had, I believe, let me look at the date real quick on this. I believe this conversation was on the 18th. Let me go ahead and verify that real quick because I have the Zoom links in my email. But either way, I believe this conversation with Shakim. Okay, hold on. Me and her had a Zoom call. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just show you guys. Let me just go over here and share this tab. So we actually had our Zoom call. So I said, hey, I would have no problem working with you. This was April the 11th regarding YouTube content. Definitely let me know what you have in mind. I'll be sure, look forward to you. Give me a call. And that is the number. People have that number, so it really doesn't matter. And then her answer was, okay, I'll give you a call tonight. And then we had on the 13th was when she sent that proposal, which was 2 days later after we had our initial conversation. And then here's the Zoom call, the original Zoom call for the 13th. And this was her inviting me to a scheduled Zoom meeting. Okay, so she cannot say that she does not have an extra Zoom call where we actually had this conversation about money, about Shakim, about the other party, about the other candidates that we were supposed to possibly bring into the podcast. All of this stuff was talked about in her Zoom call. So she has a copy of that. And I would love for her to show that video. Show the video. But you guys, like I said, that's exactly what happened. So we had our first Zoom call. And then we had the next Zoom call. So I said, is 9 p.m. good? This was to her and him. Grand Rising, everyone. Here's Shakim's email. And then she said, good morning, 9 p.m. is good. So if so, tonight we can discuss the shoot, set up the YouTube and the podcast, have some topics ready to go, and also create at least 2 weeks of calendar. We can also discuss the type of show we want and have what sponsors we are looking for. Shakim, the shoot is May 7th. We can also do a second on mid-May if that is easiest for you. Excited to work with you two. Have a great day. All right, so let's go back again. So this is the Zoom call, the email, and here is the Zoom call meeting again. This is the Teams meeting. So we had a team meeting, right? And then here we go. I sent her the branding on the 15th. And here is the 18th with the Zoom call for tonight's meeting. Here is an early meeting for me and her that we set up prior to the Zoom call with Shakim. And this is the actual Shakim contact. This is the conversation. She said, hey, here is Shakim's non-compete and NDA contracts. Once we know how much we are paying him, we can add his payment. This was done on April 18th at 5:50 p.m. Okay, so if I already came up with how much he was going to be paid, then why is she saying, hey, here is Shakim's non-compete and NDA contracts. Once we know how much we are paying him, we can then add his payment. How is it that I came up with how much he was going to be paid if she says this, and then the very same night is when we had our Zoom meeting with Shakim? How is it that I knew prior to what he was going to be paid, and I was trying to dupe him in his payments. But then this is what she says after our meeting. How is that? Or before our meeting? How is that? How does that work? And here are the contracts. This is the non-compete, which I believe Shakim actually showed you guys. This is the non-compete. Okay. It's a few pages long. And then it has a Shout Into the Void podcast with the seal and then Shakim Harris. Okay. And none of us signed it. Well, I didn't sign any of this. And here's the non-disclosure. Okay. And it has a Shout Into the Void podcast, 400 Broadway. Okay. And then Shakim Harris, the contractor. Okay. And this is all the information in this particular contract. Okay. So again, no information was known about how much he would be paid or how much would be coming out and what he would be paid. And that's clear since this is her words. Hey, here is Shakim's non-compete and NDA contracts. Once we know how much we are paying him, we can add his payment. So that has been debunked. Let's continue.
You know, what you agree to for pay, what your hours are, you know, what hours you're required to work, what days you're required to work. You're not obligated to shit until you actually sign that. And even then, technically, you're not obligated. You don't want to fucking do it. Just say, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? You can just tomorrow wake up and be like, I don't want to do it. We're not going to be like, let's fix Shakim's court because he quit our podcast. No, we're not going to do that to you. I'll even put that in the contract. You know, like if you decide you want to quit, we're not going to fuck with you. You can quit at any time. But
I'm telling y'all, I'll be about to quit my job every day. Like every day, I'm 2.5 seconds away from quitting my job. So
all of us, listen, all of us, bro.
Me too.
We could just stand this shit.
because I work for
life changing.
I work for the CDC now, and I have to learn like.
So do I. I work for the
So you do?
I do the COVID. I'm doing a COVID reform program.
Okay. You might know like my manager, William Scott, and like some of the higher up people, but I got 2 jobs. So my brain is just like I can only solve so many problems in 8 hours. So yeah, like, but nah, I ain't gonna quit on y'all.
Listen, we all try to be like, and we were just saying that. We were just like, yo, we just trying to make this shit boom and just go what we can with it.
Right.
We're really like, what were you thinking though? Like pay wise, like granted, we don't really know obviously how much it's gonna bring in right away because we have to fucking do it and see what happens.
But
Right.
wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. Isn't she out here saying that I already knew exactly how much I was going to pay Shakim, and this is what T-Pre came up with. But on this Zoom call, something else is coming out. Okay, let's continue though. Let's continue.
But once we start getting paid,
Because see, we're not going to continue with the narratives. We're going to go with the facts. Okay, so let's continue. Don't get mad because I can actually present facts. Don't get mad at that. Okay, be careful what you say. And while you're out here saying stuff, and then I got facts to prove you as a liar.
hey, like what are you looking for pay wise? Like how much time and investment you trying to put into this shit? Like
Yeah, so I think like as far as like how much time I'm trying to put in, I could put in like at least on a part-time level, like we start off doing 2 shows a week. I think that's fine. I don't really have a way to quantify like what I would expect for pay just because I don't really know how much time it's really going to take. If we're talking about just recording online most of the time, and I'm not having to travel to New York like every week,
Right.
then I think that would change like what I would expect to be paid. So I would just say like, you can just make me an offer. And then like, I can just say, like, yeah, this makes sense, or this is in the right ballpark, or, oh, this is definitely too low, or, too
so what if
much.
we
So
say like 20 an hour starting out? Like once the podcast
Ain't
is
that
up
a
and going, and we
motherfucking
have,
bitch? So was it me that offered $20 an hour? Was it me, guys? Let's rewind that a little bit again. Let's play that again.
What I would expect to be paid. So I would just say, like, you can just make me an offer. And then like I can just say, you know, like, yeah, this makes sense, or this is in the right ballpark, or oh, this is definitely too low, or you know, too
so what if
much.
we
So
say like 20 an hour starting out? Like once the podcast is up and going and we have hit our first check, obviously we know, it's going to take at least 60 days to get to the first check. You got to go through your first 30 days. And when it comes to social media, they always get that lag month, if you will. So we would, if we're launching in May, we know our first paycheck isn't coming to June, whatever the pay dates are. But we were thinking like 20 an hour just starting out. And that's just podcast.
That's just the podcast part, and
right.
that's
We're not talking
the
anything
start.
else. Okay, right.
We're not talking about we're not talking about anything else, because there's some other perks with this. So maybe we should tell him that too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, so like for instance, we're going to build our own website. We actually are going to do that. So you don't have to be concerned about that. But
that's just a lot of work for you. And we know, I was like, yo, if he build websites, he not
I was
gonna
like,
push.
I don't know if I wanted that on you. So that's something we can actually do. But if we let you do free advertising, okay, on our podcast, free advertising on there of your merchandise, also you get like, I mean, up to a certain amount of money, you would get.
So understand, make a change, that the reason why Shakem and I had expected to possibly be getting paid within 30 days is because of the sponsorships that she told us about. So that was the reason why we expected this type of pay within 30 to 60 days or so. So yeah, you're right. It is absolute cap, because there was never going to be any type of movement of such. But yeah, that's literally what she said. So that's the reason why we were thinking that. But let's continue with this.
100% of the profits of your merchandise. Now,
Yes,
say you started making like, you became like a Rockefeller. I mean, my nigga, you gonna have to give me a couple of hours. You know what I mean? You gotta give me a couple of hours.
Gonna get rich, Shakem, and try to leave the small timers in the back. But you
have to give me a couple of hours. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're making up to a certain amount of money, this is your merchandise. Sell your merchandise and take your money, take your profit. See what I'm saying? Like, we're actually doing the same things. Like, I have my own merchandise that I'm going to be selling. Andrea's got her own merchandise that she's going to be selling. I'm not sharing those profits. She's not sharing her profits. You know what I mean? So
So yes, Stefan, that was a conversation that we had prior to this Zoom call. I just said that. I showed you guys also where Drea actually had a Zoom call set up for us. And then we had another Zoom call prior to that. And yes, me and her had our own conversations naturally, because it was her podcast deal that she brought to me, but both of us would have been partners in the podcast. So clearly, both of us would have had conversations with each other prior to talking to anybody else. So yes, we definitely did talk about money. We talked about possibly how much we would pay per hour. It was not per Zoom, not per podcast. It was per hour. And we talked about that on here. She actually says $20 per hour. So you must not be paying attention. But yeah, like Alan said, pay attention, Steph.
Give you a monthly reporting of what the back website made, or the merchandise.
Exactly.
We'll give you what the merchandise is.
Like, you'll know what you've made. We're not ever going to
know.
You know,
will never, like, you will always be able to look at your shit and say, okay, this is the back office.
This is what I got. Right. This is what I'm making. And it would be good for you, because I think you already have a store or something like that anyway. So if you're already selling things there, and then you're on the podcast, you're getting that exposure. You've got those people buying your products from, why not have some multiple, you understand what I'm saying? Like websites where you're actually, getting paid.
You're promoting it.
and promote, and the promotion is for free. Like, you can't beat that. I think
You can run on the Instagram, like we'll have Instagram ads and stuff like that running, like professional ads running. So you can always just put your shit in the Instagram ads, you know, add it to the rotation. Like if you're selling your shirts, add them bitches. If you
Add
want
that.
to sell, you know,
Right.
a pack of bogeys, add them bitches. I don't know, whatever. If you want to promote your YouTube, your personal YouTube channel, you can do that as well, you know, add it to the rotation. And like she said, anything that you make up to, I mean, obviously if you turn into a Rockefeller, we need cuts,
Right.
so we pulling down
I'm
in
cut.
Michigan.
I'm gonna need some cut.
But
you
you
know.
can keep your own shit. Yeah, you can keep your own profit. So we wouldn't mess with your profit. Podcasting, it would be $20 an hour if you're cool with that. If not, we can negotiate that. And then obviously if you're doing additional things within, then obviously you would get paid for whatever you're doing. We would just negotiate.
So again, that is evidence right there that I did not come up with this. I came up with this idea, and this is where we were at. And, you know, because if that's the case, why did you present that? Why did you just say that? Because if you didn't, if I was saying it and it was all from me, I would have just been saying it and that would have been it. Or you would have been like, I really don't agree with this. I really don't know. We'll have to talk about this later. But literally it was, we're going to start you off with $20 per hour if we're making that kind of money. And then as we go along, that would be negotiated. That was what came out of her mouth. So where is this new narrative coming from that T-Pre was all against Shakim? T-Pre was trying to snake Shakim from the rip. T-Pre was trying to get up under Shakim and trying to do all this bullshit. Like, where is that coming from when the evidence is right here? Let's continue.
And I think that's fair. Like,
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, because I mean, I don't expect anything to replace like what I do at work right away. You know what I mean? I think you have to work your way up to where you're trying to get to.
So everybody is on the same page on this Zoom call. Shakim, me, Breaking the Culture, everybody understands the payment. Everybody understands how that would go, why we came up with that, how we came up with that, and what we intend to do with that in the future. But suddenly, everybody's so confused about payment when it comes to a shout into the void.
So
I
I think
wonder why.
to start there is a good place. So I'm cool with that.
Okay. Well, then that's what it is. So we'll go ahead and write up a contract for that. That will keep at, I guess, a good 6 months for that contract.
revisit
That
it,
way-
yeah, because 6 months is a good time to give it to where I think we'll be making money before 6 months, but
Right.
by 6 months mark, we should start seeing some real
We
change.
should see some real changes, and then we could be like, okay, bro, what you want?
Let's
You know
get
what I
you
mean?
some money, yeah, because if we're making thousands of dollars, we're not.
Of
gonna
course,
be
we're not
making
gonna pay you
$20 a
$20 an
hour.
hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I would
And then-
quit if I was me. If I was you.
Exactly.
Like, look, these bitches.
And then even donations that come in, we could work out donations with, you know, we
Mhm.
could always do an 80-20 on donations, whatever, however, you know, depending.
So binary, the narrative sector will always say that evidence and facts are damaging to the other person. No, sweetheart, this is damaging to her, okay? Because again, like I said, this completely debunks her entire lie that she told all that time on Ray Trigg's panel when I wasn't there to, you know, to actually show you guys the proof. Okay, so now I got the proof and now it's damaging to me, right? Yeah. This is the narrative you like to spin. You love to spin narratives. We know that's what you do, binary. So enjoy. You said not more damaging than using kids for bait, though. Ah, kick rocks, bitch code. Okay. Let's continue. Also, not as damaging as touching women without their consent. Okay. But we'll continue.
You know, what we get, but because we still also have to pay maintenance for keeping the podcast running our ads, things like that. So donations that come in, hopefully we can just take the donations if they're not crazy expensive and just put that, and then that doesn't affect any of our paychecks. So we can just
Right.
use that for paying for the Zooms, paying for the podcast.
Yeah, dummy. The reason why is because, again, me and Breaking the Culture, were supposed to be the owners of this podcast. Okay. She approached me with the deal. She told me she wanted me to be an equal partner in the podcast. And so, yes, partners in a business are going to discuss the business prior to hiring anyone, prior to bringing anyone or anything on into the business. Yes, we are going to discuss the terms of these things prior to, not understanding what you don't understand about that. But we'll go ahead and continue.
Right.
If we all need to get professional, whatever, if people want to upgrade their equipment and shit like that, if Shakim want to fly in, we could take the donation and fly Shakim's ass in. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Like those are what we wanted to do. So there's a lot of perks of this too. It's not just, you know, oh, you get $20 an hour and that's it. Like that. And then there's also, you know, even though you're a contractor, you know, hey, if you got to fly in and we need you here and you just, you know, if you really don't have it,
We'll
we can-
fly your ass
we
in.
can
Yeah.
get you in here. You see what I'm saying? Those are kind of things that go along with the whole contract
And if
too.
you come out here, you don't ever have to pay for a place to stay. So at least you
Right.
always know
That's
your
another
Airbnb.
perk, you know.
You'll always have a place to lay your head that's good and solid. Ain't no jack.
Yes, Binary. She brought that up to me. She brought up a lot of these things to me. And we discussed it, we negotiated, and we came up with terms that we would present to him. So yes, she did. Whether you like it or not.
Thank you, shit.
Right. You don't have to worry about, you know, getting a hotel and all those other expenses that would be there if you were, you know, working for somebody in Hollywood or some shit.
Right.
So, let me see what else I had. I think that was it that I had. Yeah, I think that was it. I think we got the flight and everything already taken care of. And we understand the contracts and how much, you know, as far as money and stuff.
And that we can keep updating. I think that we can always, as the business grows, the contract grows. And I think that, you know.
I do have a question. Have you thought of anyone that, because I remember.
So Nova, I'm not sure if you're listening to the full show, but did you hear in this Zoom call where he knew he would be a contractor of the business and that he would not be a owner of the business? If you didn't hear that, you're welcome to rewind this video and listen, because in the Zoom call, all three of us said he is a contractor. As a matter of fact, I even showed you the actual contracts, okay, where he would be a contractor. Okay, so it says employer, Shakim Harris, employee. Okay, so you can see that right here. Shakim knew he would be an employee, and a shout into the void would be the employer. So yes, he was very well aware that he was not a partner in the business. So again, I'm not sure what part of that you don't recall, but yes, that was definitely shown and that was definitely talked about. So let's go ahead and continue here.
Remember that you and I had talked about you having a replacement if needed. Have you thought about who that would be, and have you interviewed anybody?
Yes. So I'm still kind of figuring out who that might be.
Do you have anybody in mind? Because I do.
And we could always commission that too. Like instead of paying that person to come on, we can get that person just have to come on and we get Shakim his money.
Who were you? Who did you have in mind?
Who I had in mind was LV.
Okay. Yeah, I like LV. So
He's conversational.
Mhm.
Also, he's not far. And he's funny. He already runs like 2 different channels. And he's been successful at both. And also he has a tendency to be on top of his game. And what I've seen with him lately is me throwing little shit out to the sector. I've been throwing little like dropping little bombs and stuff in the sector so that people can start getting on the same type time. You see what I'm saying? And he seems to be one of the only ones that has been really catching on and really doing. You know what I mean? Like I've been throwing ideas out about stuff that the sector can do, and he'd be right on top of it. When I said something about, I said instead of the demon panel, maybe somebody could come up with a build panel. He had a build panel right away. And then when I said the other day, I said something about, I said something else. I put another idea out about everybody coming together and figuring out what type of contact, I mean, what type of work that they want to do together. And he immediately came up with that show. So everybody was literally building on that show the other night on how to, different tips on how to improve their YouTube channels and how to get into these these contracts with each other. And man, that shit was so beautiful. I was like, LV, man, you hired, nigga. Get over here.
Not you. Yo, it be real shit though. It's like the fucking, don't get me wrong, the drama should be cool for what it needs to be cool for. But when it's like time to make some money, it's like you gotta all be able to like, because you can't make money. I mean, talking to Larry and even just talking to Conscious and Conscious called me earlier, but it's just like just seeing what they are bringing in, because I've been telling Conscious like, bitch, you need to get your shit together because you're gonna be. And he's like, you're right, because he's starting to see it. He's starting to see his revenue, and Larry's been like kind of like trying to help us as far as like teaching us how you can actually get your channel grow. And it's crazy because there's serious money out here, and we fucking around arguing with each other.
It is way too much money to be doing that.
And the crazy part is the amount of time that we're spending on YouTube doing this shit. We could be getting paid for this shit. But
I hope I blocked the right propane. Let me know if that was the proper propane. I'm pretty sure this is the right propane that says talking about wolf and stuff. So I think I got the right one. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue, guys. This isn't much longer. It's probably like a few more minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm wasting my time with Black Lounge. And what I'm saying is, like, I'm going to do that for now just to keep my face out here. But when we get this really rolling and I transition my target audience to here, Black Lounge is probably going to be a thing of the past. It's not that I'm not going to be doing it or I'm not going to.
You'll have your indulgences. You'll have your little indulgences on the side.
I don't have time for certain things. Like, but this right here is where it's at. Even especially if we're even going to do our divination and stuff here too. Shakim, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I was going to say he the iPhone, right? I was going to say who this person is.
But anyway, even if we're going to be doing divination stuff and everything on, the podcast, I don't really have a reason to be over there. You know what I mean? Because it's a waste of my time.
But yeah, it could definitely,
unless I change it. I have to literally switch the whole thing. And I don't know. I can just leave it like it is and let it be a ghost channel.
I told you I'm about to change my whole page to a BDSM dominatrix page. I'm about to just do dominatrix courses because everybody's so curious. And people buy them. I sell them right now. I sell them on Eventbrite.
Yeah. I have another channel too called the Relax Zone. I haven't done a damn thing with it yet. Nothing. It's just a fresh.
I'm about to be over there on my whipping phase.
I should make a.
But I'm the goddamn dominatrix.
Listen, have Shakim be the daddy dom,
right?
Shakim ain't fucking with us.
I
know, we crazy. He'll be all right with us though.
I mean, I'll do, depending on the price, whatever the price is.
Look, he like, I could put you in leather and a harness.
All right.
Depends. It depends on the harness.
I know that's right. He said, "Ain't nobody slave, bitch."
That's right.
That's right.
Anyway, anybody else have anything else? Because I don't.
I don't either. You got any questions or anything you want to add, Shakim, before we start recording? Because I'm assuming we're gonna record like a mini show or something. Do y'all want to record it or do y'all want to go live? Like the three of us just bust out and go live.
Y'all want to go live?
That's what I'm saying. Are we gonna go live or do y'all want to just record it?
I don't care.
It's up to y'all, really. Because so you said we're about to record like a pilot, like a test episode tonight. Was that tonight?
Yeah,
Okay.
You might as well go live then.
just do it on live and just see.
Yeah, we could do that.
Well, what do we
fill
want
the
to talk
room.
about? That's the first thing. So there's topics that are just out there right now, like the Nature Boy situation.
Okay, so the rest of the call was just us kind of just talking about the what we're going to talk about regarding the podcast. What we were going to talk about that night regarding the video, and we did end up going live. And yes, it was a waste of my time in this sector, fucking with this sector and the bullshit with this sector. If you don't understand that, Stefan, you just don't. You don't care anyway. You just want to talk shit. But absolutely, it was a waste of my time to continue fucking around with this Black Lounge and this sector and not go in the direction that was being told to me about the podcast. It would actually absolutely make sense. It would make sense financially. It would make sense with the rest of my time and everything. So yes, if y'all want to hear the rest, you're welcome to. But I'm not. I thought y'all may want to hear the other video. But let me go ahead and pull it up for you. Hold on. Let me go ahead and, the rest of the video was literally about us just simply talking about what we're going to do. But as a matter of fact, I'm going to show this one because all we talked about was what we were going to do in the video that we did that night. So if you guys want to know, you can go look at that video from that night because that's literally what we talked about. And both of them also have a copy of this same video, so they can show y'all too what else was said. But let me go ahead and share this video here, and then we'll end the show. So this was another night. So did you had some questions for us, or Hold on, let me go back to the beginning.
Yeah, just a couple small questions. It shouldn't take too much of your time.
All right, so this, guys, is
All right.
where
Good evening.
we talked about the contracts. Shakim had some more questions about the contracts. We also talked to him about getting those travel plans to us. And again, this was a few days later. Okay, so this was the first one was, I believe it was the 18th, and this was about the 20-somethingth of April. So this was roughly about a week or two prior to the photo shoot, okay, that we were allegedly supposed to have. So let's continue.
Everybody, I hope everybody's good. Shakim, I know that you wanted to do this meeting tonight. So did you had some questions for us, or was there something?
Yeah, just a couple small questions. It shouldn't take too much of your time. So since you guys are technically the co-owners, I was thinking you guys should probably be the ones to register the domain name for the website.
So this is also further evidence that Shakim was very aware of his role in the business. He was very aware that he was not a partner in the business. Okay, he knew that we were the business owners. We were supposed to be working as the partners, the business partners, and he was coming in as a contractor.
Because if I buy it, it'll be in my name or in my business name. So if you guys want, you guys can go to GoDaddy together or whenever you have time and just buy the domain name that you want for the podcast. And then once I have that, well, I can start working on the website without that, but I just wanted to see when you guys could start working on that. Because that's something you guys would have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what we were going to do, if what we had talked about, Dre and I had talked about that portion of the website thing. And because it is our podcast, we were going to go ahead and just take care of the website altogether.
Okay.
That way you don't have to even be bothered with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's a lot. And well, we know that's a lot. And
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So it was like, since you're not getting, you're getting paid by the hour for, the podcast itself, it's like, why pile on extra stuff on you that you don't have to have?
yeah, I really
And I
felt
know
like
you
that
said you
would
were
that
like
wouldn't be fair
mad
of us to
busy
do that.
too with other stuff.
Again, more evidence that he was going to be paid by the hour. Everybody was aware of how much he would get started off with and where that came from. This is more evidence of that.
So we figure, no sense in piling on extra work for you that you don't, need if you're already busy as it is.
Yeah. Well, it ain't no problem to make a landing page. So I wasn't making like an entire website or anything. I was just what I was gonna do was set up a landing page, which really isn't a lot of work, but whatever you guys want to do with the website is up to you. But yeah, I'm cool with whatever you decide to do.
I mean, if you've already done some work or something, I don't want to say it like that.
Yeah, if you already
you've
did it,
done
yeah.
that, then absolutely we'll take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? And take a look at that and see what you got. I mean, shit.
Right. We
everything
just
you
didn't
did.
want to pile a lot on you because you said you busy as hell as is. And then
Right.
two, right now we can only guarantee you for sure, your base pay until we start making other money. So we just don't want you doing extra work without receiving pay for it either. You know what I mean? And it's taken away from shit that you could be doing for yourself. Unless
Right.
you want to, unless you really
Yeah,
want to.
well, yeah, like I said, so what I was going to do was just do what we talked about, like just the landing page.
Okay.
So I didn't plan on like like really going hard with it. I was gonna maybe meet up with one of my designers in Nigeria and see if he could meet with you guys and talk to you about different designs or different things that you guys wanted to do at a later time.
Okay.
But for now, I mean, if you guys want to,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, if you want to do the landing page, that's fine, because you can always create the landing page and then we can obviously just, put it into just code it into the website. So I mean, yeah, if you want to do the landing page and it's not gonna take away from you or anything what you got going on, then sure, like by all means, you're free to create the landing page.
yeah. So what I would suggest is you guys know about GoDaddy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would suggest like the fastest way for us to get our website and everything working would be for you guys to go on there, buy your domain name, and also buy a WordPress hosted website, which is like $5 a month. So once
Okay,
you
so I
do
was
that,
gonna say, so WordPress, I actually am not gonna use WordPress. I was gonna use Duda. I don't know if you've heard of Duda or not.
yep, I haven't heard of Duda before.
You said you have?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. So Duda is kind of like, have you ever heard of Squarespace?
Yeah, I've heard of Squarespace.
So it's like Squarespace, but 10 times better. And Duda is
We got 57 people in the clouds. I'm going to need y'all to hit that like button, please, on the way in here. Let me go ahead and play y'all a nice little timer while y'all are hitting that like button, because no, we're not about to sit up here and just play all this content and y'all just sit and watch. Yes, please go ahead and hit that like button, y'all. Let's go ahead and wait. Okay, y'all, that is much, much better. I still think we need a couple more likes on there because it's like 56 of y'all asses up in here. So we're going to go ahead and do this again, okay? I'm going to need y'all to hit that like button, and then we're going to go ahead and continue with the show. See, that's the beauty of it. It don't matter whether y'all hit the down button or the up button. It doesn't matter. Y'all can hit the down, the like, the dislike. It doesn't matter. The algorithm is what picks that up, okay? So I appreciate y'all for doing that. Let's go ahead and continue with the video.
Because we actually already own Duda as far as for like my fiance for his websites that he does for like his restaurants and stuff. Because he's a designer, so he does like websites and stuff for different restaurants and businesses, and he did the Alicia Keys website. That he did that.
Oh, he's a software developer.
No, he's actually a designer. He's a designer. He does graphic design, and then he does like logos. He designs actual restaurants, their menus, their websites. Stuff like that. He's the creative director for Alicia Keys right now and for Elf Cosmetics, which is why I had all that damn makeup. I don't know. Did you ever send him that? You never sent him that, did you? All that damn makeup I had. I was talking about.
It might.
I saw that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he actually does like design for big brands. He does some stuff for CVS, Walgreens. So he actually builds websites. He did he does websites, and then I do them too. I actually have the Flowers on First. I have the Cure Skin Lab in New York. I have Komochi in New York. I did the Manhattanville Market website in New York. So we use Duda because we already own it. So that's typically what we use. I don't really like WordPress, but I can definitely go to GoDaddy and get the domain. And then I also think that we should get a domain for the email too. We need to get an email domain.
So you guys can get more of a clearer understanding. What's up, Darrell? I appreciate you being in the building. And shout out to you, Alan, for the $20 super chat. I truly appreciate that. You said, keep giving us the business, Lady T, and you know it. But yeah, this is kind of giving you guys an understanding of where we were coming from when it came to all these sponsors and all these big names that were supposed to be getting behind this podcast deal. Because literally, these are the names that she started mentioning: Alicia Keys, Jennifer Hudson, Elf Makeup, all these other various brands and names were the ones that were supposed to be getting behind this podcast. So let's go ahead and continue with this.
Yeah, you can buy all of those
It's just a few more minutes.
in one
A
transaction,
package.
like
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
GoDaddy. So yeah, if you're more comfortable with Duda, look into it. I've never heard of it, and I've been in the industry a long time. But
It's DUDA.
okay, let me look it up.
It's like orange. When you go on it, it's orange. But that's what we use for all of our businesses. And I can send you like just a couple websites that we've done just so you could see them. Like so you can see like what the websites look like once they're built. But it's honestly is really not that much different than using WordPress. WordPress, I just don't really like WordPress. I just like it's outdated. But
Okay.
yeah, that's just me. I don't really like it. But it doesn't matter because even if you were to create the landing page on WordPress, we could still code it in. So it's still fine.
Yeah, whatever you're most comfortable with, because I as a software engineer, I'm not really religious about using any particular
Right.
technology, but I do know, like, if you guys were trying to do something like within a week or within a couple days, then that's
Right. WordPress would have been
really,
a quick, easy way to go. Yeah.
yeah, but I'm sure you could probably do the same thing with what you're talking about too. So
Yeah, because they're
it
all
works.
the same, honestly. It's like WordPress, it's Duda, there's what is it? I just don't like Squarespace because they changed it. The way that Squarespace works, they changed it. But so no, that's fine. We'll get the domains and stuff and we'll get the emails and all that. Did you go over your contracts yet? And have you like signed them or anything?
Yep, I've gone through them.
Or did
I've
you have
signed them.
questions about them?
Yeah, I've signed them already. I just have to send them to you. I got to switch computers, so once I
Okay.
switch computers, I'll send them to you.
And then do you know for sure if you're coming in? Because Danny needs to know because he needs to know if he's pulling it off or not. Because he needs to block out the dates like ASAP.
Yeah, I bought my ticket already.
Okay, cool.
Now, in this video, this was done, like I said, this was like April 23rd or somewhere around there. Okay. So in this video, Shakim tells us he bought his ticket already. Okay. So he lets us know he purchased his ticket already. But we showed evidence that Shakim did not purchase that ticket until the day before he was traveling. So this is the reason why Shakim did not have the Airbnb. And this is the reason why Shakim was not booked up for the photographer. So it doesn't matter what time and what thing you try to spend now. At the end of the day, the Zoom calls prove all of this stuff. Like, period. I don't know what part of this y'all don't get, but we're going to go ahead and continue. Like I said, there's a few more minutes.
Yep. So that's all. Good.
I think that was everything then. Unless you had some additional stuff, Shakim, any other questions for us?
Nope, not really. I was trying to figure out what did you guys think about the first show? When do you guys like?
Oh, yeah.
Our pilot show.
Okay, so one thing I did, I thought the first show that we did the other day, that little quick, shindig we did the other day, I thought that was great. I thought that was really good. I think we're going to continue to grow with that. One thing I did have for you though, like the podcast, we're not going to have an audience that's talking to us, chatting with us, or any of that. So we got to get used to not paying attention. If we're like live and we're talking to each other, we have to get used to not paying attention to the chat because the chat isn't going to be there most of the time. So we got to think about when we're live on YouTube, even though we might be live on YouTube, that audio is going to go across podcasts. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be on Apple. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on whatever. So there's no chat room in those spaces. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it throws the conversation off if we're talking to each other and then like we're paying attention to what somebody's saying in the chat and we're answering them. That's the reason why I wasn't talking to those people and I wasn't answering them. It wasn't, I acknowledged them. I saw that they were there, but I didn't want to start a conversation off of what they were saying, because that doesn't make sense to the podcast. You see what I'm saying? Because when somebody's listening in their car on Sirius Radio, they're not expecting somebody to be answering questions in their chat, unless that's kind of like a live conversation that they know is a live, you know what I mean? And I'd rather it be more podcast like. You feel me?
Yeah, like we don't want it to come, like we don't want it, because it's separate from us just going live, like how we all typically just go live and then interact with our audience and stuff.
Right.
On the podcast, because I mean, like, even if you look at like No Jumper and them, when they're live, and even just when they're live on YouTube, when they're doing it, they don't interact with the audience unless that's what the show is for.
Right.
So that is one thing that we do have to all like, because I was peeping the shit. I seen how Rev came in and was fucking with you, and then you got distracted and then you went in there and lit his ass up, and I was like, no.
And I was like, it was okay. I mean, that's what we do.
You didn't say anything verbally, so it was cool.
I do want to say that, Samba, yeah, he definitely signed the contracts with thinking that he could trust this process. Okay. There was a lot of things that I trusted as well. Even though I never signed any contracts, I did trust her, and I trusted what she was saying based off of what was presented. Okay. And then I turned around, and with her on a united front, I presented these things to Shakim. We presented these things to Shakim. So yes, I can see where he would actually trust this process and believed in it. I really do. I really do. And that is why I feel so bad that he got involved, right? And that is why I apologized to him, and I came to him like I did, because I knew that he got into something that, unfortunately, you know, both of us kind of played a naive part in this. We both really did believe in what she was saying. And that is why I felt bad. My intentions were not to, quote unquote, throw this bitch under no bus and make her look bad or any of that shit. This is what was presented. Okay. She presented a podcast deal. She did not go through with that podcast deal. And this is what we're dealing with now. Okay. So, yeah. And unfortunately, all of this came from that. You said, told y'all about the non-blacks in the sector long ago, but oh well, here we are. Mm-hmm. And what's up, defrauding? I appreciate you being in the building. You said don't attend Amin Ra for business acumen. You know what? All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and continue.
Ooh, but we saw your ass in the chat.
But it's like there were kind of like gaps between when you were speaking back and forth with us. You know what I mean? Where we could have been more interactive with you, but Rev G was trying to keep your attention. You see what I'm saying? Like, fuck Rev G. Fuck him. Nobody cares what he's thinking about. And as a matter of fact, what I'm thinking is the next time we do a live like that, we should just cut the fucking chat off. Because this is what we doing anyway. And this is the direction that YouTube is going.
Or even if we keep it up. I mean, I do like the idea of keeping it up, though, the chat, because I feel like it gives the audience a chance to interact with each other. But
let them interact with each other. But we can't be paying attention to what they're talking about.
And if we
gotta cut that off on our end.
Chat, it has to be something like generic, like good afternoon, hello, like not
right. And just let it go.
Not on this anyway, because otherwise, like she said, because there was twice like we were trying to talk to you, but you were distracted. You didn't even realize we were talking to you. So we just started talking to each other for a hot second. And I was like, he's going up over it. Rev ain't shit though. I'm over here fucking with us.
It was partially that, but it was also just like me recovering from my birthday week. Like I'm a little slow right now, so like,
that's all right though. I mean, and plus, like, you know what? We're also used to that type of crowd. We're used to that type of show where, you know, we're talking, and part of our show is interacting with the audience.
Right.
So it is a like. So binary, I've actually answered that question. You said, I'm curious if you intentionally meant to throw Dr. Strike under the bus, what you're talking about, Dr. Nikki. So no, I was, and as you guys can see from even from just these Zoom calls, Drea and I had a real rapport with each other. We actually had a friendship. We were building a relationship, okay? We shared many things with each other. She shared a lot of things with me. I've shared a lot of things with her. Those things were never intended to be made public, okay? But she decided to, out of, because she wanted to hurt Nikki and because she just wanted to throw darts and get the heat off of herself, she decided to throw that conversation out there as if I was just simply just talking about Nikki, when it wasn't like that. I was giving Breaking the Culture context as a friend. I was giving her context to what was really going on with, you know, people behind the scenes, where she's thinking that all these people are working together to come against her. And that's not the case. And I told her that out of frustration and, you know, even just letting her know what was really up, and also entrusting her and feeling that we had an actual relationship to be able to do that. So no, that was not intentional. She intentionally put that out in the public so it can appear that way, and that wasn't the case. You said, Madam Noor, let's not act like obvious red flags weren't glossed over due to extreme thirst to compete with a dude who allegedly can't bathe properly. You said, I know D. Durrell Spears, Sectors TV, but I'm sure you've made mistakes in business that you've regretted. Come on. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Facts. You said, D. Durrell, what's your email? What's up, YouTube streets? And you said, spot him as prime. Sure, I'm certain he sees the red flags in hindsight, but it is what it is. Exactly. There's a lot of things that now we have seen in hindsight, you know? And it's easy for people to get up here and judge and tell you how you should have done something and what they would have done and all this other bullshit, knowing goddamn well that they would not have. If they were presented with these things this way, they may have done the very same thing. But it's unfortunate, and it is what it is. But what she's not going to do is keep coming out here and acting like, somebody did something to her. We all lied on each other, and we're all making up all this stuff. And I did all these things to shock him and all this bullshit. She ain't gonna do that. It is a big leap. Like the other night, me interacting with just you guys was like, wow, this is a big difference. Even though I've done it before. I've done it before where I've gone live and I've said what I needed to say, and I didn't pay attention to what the chat was saying. And then I shut the camera off and I'm done. You know what I mean? But so I know I can do that, but it takes a lot more when you're actually doing this and having an interaction with other people. And it's like we got to focus on us and just know that like the conversation is really going to flow if we can just cut everything else in the world out for a second. And
yeah, because we don't want to be dry. We want to be more lively. Because I do feel like we were a little dry.
I think we were a little dry too.
And that's how I was like, that's where Shaquem would have came in great with the sound effects, that damn gavel.
Yeah. Yeah, like we need that. You know what I mean? We need the liveliness between us. And all of us can get lively and get, and I think it could be done. I think we just
basically acting without being seen is basically what we got to do.
That's what we need to do.
We need
to get animated.
Sound.
We need to get the sound effects going. I mean, I got a couple of things, even myself.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
And I think we can do this. I really do. But fuck Rev G, fuck all of them, because they're gonna hate any fucking way. And I don't even know how he got in my chat because I thought he was fucking blocked, but
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think we did pretty decent for the first show. And again, if you guys don't want to use that show like as our pilot show, that's totally fine. Like I said, this is so much shit going on that it's like we really can take our time with it and make sure that our first show is that one show that we really feel like we can stand by and that we're proud of. So Yeah.
Well, I'm
you know,
wondering if what if for
try-
our pilot, if we take like since we're gonna film, because like obviously we're gonna start doing more and more recordings like within this week and next week.
Mhm.
Maybe if we take like our first couple shows and we splice them. Because you know
That's
that's
a good
usually what
idea.
pilots are. Pilots are normally a compilation of different
different
shows
shit.
anyway.
So
we
we
can
can
do
take
that and then
pieces
have
of,
him do your sound effects and stuff.
yeah, we can take pieces of the first show. We need to start recording ASAP. If you've already signed these contracts, then I'm ready to get to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you guys have a YouTube channel for the podcast? Like
We
how's
do.
that work?
We're setting that up now, but we need to start recording. We need to
Okay.
have a plethora of recordings.
I literally was about to go live, but I mean, if you guys want, we can either do it today or we can do it tomorrow or we can do it Friday. So whenever you guys want to do it.
Well, we know Friday night we can't do because she's meeting with Danny to go over the branding and all that and stuff. Because we want to try to have, because especially if you're going to create the landing page, we need to get you the logo, the finished logo and the branding because you're going to need that for the landing page.
Yeah.
So Friday night she's going to meet with Danny. They're going to go over the logo and all that and stuff and actually get the branding solidified and get it worked on. So that way we can have it to you by like Monday, hopefully. Just have it all over to you by Monday so you can work on the landing page, and then I'll make sure that the domain and stuff is to you by Monday. So that way, well, so that you have, the website name, which I'm assuming we're just gonna call it a shoutintothevoid.com as long as it's not taken.
Yeah, that shouldn't. Who else that?
Yeah, as long as it's not taken, we'll just do that and I'll send you over the, let you know what it is so that way you can put it on, have it for the landing page. And then once the landing page is done, then we'll just incorporate it into the actual website.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, you guys, like, I want you guys to know, like, I haven't really shown you guys my best work just because I am, again, still in recovery mode, but I am like always willing to just spontaneously do stuff with y'all, like go live randomly. Like I'm going live tonight because there's been a lot of fuckery going on today, but like anytime that I'm
So then
on
let's
YouTube,
jump on Shakim's live.
We about to hop up there with you.
I mean, do y'all want to? Okay, I mean that's up to y'all.
So hold on. Before you do
He's
that,
like, well, let's go.
before we do that,
I'm with it.
are we running this like the podcast? Because we're not gonna like talk to the audience.
Yeah.
Well, I say since it is on his page, all we need is we don't have to, obviously how you did, we can address them and say hi or whatever and stuff like that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But we don't want to be making the conversation about what the audience is talking about.
Right, verbally. Now, if you wanted, since you're hosting it on yours, if you want to get in your own chat and pop off in your own chat, that's fine.
Yeah.
As long as the conversation is still flowing. That we don't care about. It's just audio wise.
Okay.
If it's like bullshit in the chat, we can't address it.
What's on the agenda? What's the conversation? What's on the agenda?
So there's a couple things. So A$AP Rocky, everybody's talking about him.
Yeah, he's locked up.
He got arrested today.
Yeah.
Also, the WAC 100, and I really want to know what you guys think about WAC 100 and Hassan Campbell, the Nipsey Hussle situation.
I didn't even get to see that whole thing. What happened? They said he was throwing shade at Nipsey.
So, okay, so the 8-year-old.
I got
her. Number one, A$AP Rocky. Number two,
trying to get through this to see
WAC 100, Hassan Campbell, and
we talked about
the way that man was hyping it. They didn't beat the little boy up.
What grinds my gears, or one of his guests, and he'll say hey, before we get into all this serious shit, if nothing, I know you sent me some music and I hear about DJ Envy's wife talking about
after that, in my inbox. So then I'm like, I didn't even know he was married. And at this time, I wasn't even engaged. Me and Danny was just talking. So I was looking through his thing and I'm like, oh, he's married. But then I started hearing all the stuff. And I was like, and then she said that she's been faking orgasms for the last 10 years with him. I was like,
yeah. I'm like, I thought it was hilarious because I'm like, you're just gonna emasculate your husband like that? Okay.
It was embarrassing.
She did emasculating him though. But they used to. All right, look, we saving this for the podcast. Come on.
Okay, so y'all want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
talk about that too.
Yeah, I got some things.
Don't got-
Spoken
That
too,
was
like,
what we,
stop recording this show because I think we're done with our business. Okay, so that was the rest of that conversation with that podcast. But there was another recording too that I'm going to pull up. I don't have time right now. I've actually got to leave. But there was another recording too where she actually talked about why she did not want to work with Shakim. That is an actual video that she actually said directly why she did not want to work with Shakim. So it was not me that was throwing him under some bus and saying, you know, oh, I didn't want to work with him and I was trying to dupe him and take advantage of him and take money from him. And I was trying to do all this dirt to him and all this shit that she's trying to paint. No, 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 no. It was 100% her that said she did not want to work with you and the reasons why she didn't want to work with you. So I'll try to find that and then show you guys that since we're showing the public everything. But until then, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I actually got some things I got to take care of today. But I do truly appreciate y'all for always tuning in and checking out the show. Always, again, make sure that you guys hit that like button on the way in, when on the way out. Let me go ahead and check out some of these calls. Some of these conversations real quick. You said the temperature just went up, and now I know why Tiff P entered the room. And I appreciate Tiff P and all of y'all for coming in. You said, you said a little dry down there. You said, Stefan. You said, see, had y'all did business with me, we would have had episodes. Okay? Because this bitch act like recording an episode was really like a big deal. And this is why Shakim was in his bag. And this is why I was in my feelings. You said, damn, Rev G ethered the first Void episode. You said, do the Danny Zoom calls exist? So Danny and I, we didn't record a Zoom call. We actually had a Zoom so that we could share screens and I could show him what I was doing on Canva with creating the logo. And he was just kind of guiding me with some stuff, but I pretty much did that whole thing. There was some things he gave me some pointers on some stuff, like, because he is a professional at that. But I don't think we have any actual Zoom recordings together. But yeah, you said, thank you for the transparency, T Pre. I know you didn't want it to come to this, but it puts everything in perspective. Facts, big ups. And that's all I wanted to do. You're not going to get out here and just paint whatever narratives you feel like painting and say whatever you feel like saying and do whatever you feel like doing and try to come between me and Shakim and all this stuff. And Shakim, I'm going to need you to put your thinking cap on to go back into your archives, to look into your evidence and remember the conversations that we've had. Remember these Zoom calls. Remember how we came to these conclusions and how we came to an understanding of pay, how we came to an understanding of your position in this podcast, why, and everything. I'm going to need you to reach down and your person pull that information out while you jumping up trying to save face for people that don't know you and people that don't care and people that are going to spin narratives regardless. Okay? That's what I'm going to need you to do. And stop trying to, come for me, because it really ain't that serious. You said 1 episode every 6 months, time budget, 1 short a week. He says Shakim is in recovery. He was recovering from his birthday. That was around his birthday. So he was still hanging out and doing his thing. He said Breaking was like, he's married. Yeah, it was somebody we had talked about that night. And I think it was Victor Cousins we were talking about. And that's who she was that's who she was referring to. But y'all can go ahead and check that video out. It's still up on Shakim's panel. We went live that night and we talked about a bunch of stuff. And that was considered one of the episodes as well. You said, make a change. Are you still stuck in 2019? You said, we the consul of the Republic approved. You said, wow, receipts are real, ain't they? I'm just saying, like, you're not ever going to find me just out here just saying a bunch of shit and I can't show y'all evidence of the facts. Like, that's just what it is. Okay, but boo-boo, You're not going to sit up here and just say whatever you want. And then when I show those Zoom calls, now nobody got nothing to say. You said, dang, y'all need to slow down with the lives. I can't keep up. Right. You said, thanks for dropping the Zoom call. I'm not sure how this solidifies your case. Someone is lying. Yes, and you can tell who's lying by the videos. It doesn't matter what you try to say and how bad you want things to be spun a certain way, because I ain't got no problem asking you, did you actually receive consent from these women that you touched, right? I ain't got no problem asking you why, you use children as bait, your own students as bait, and said this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem speaking up on that. So of course you're going to come for me and say a bunch of shit and twist shit and make shit look a certain way. But regardless of what you twist and turn, when I show evidence, nobody can debunk that. That's just what it is. Like, you can try, you can pretend, you can make it what you want it, you can come up with a new narrative, but this is the facts. You said, LV, you missed where they said they wanted to put you on the payroll. I think I had told LV I was interested in working with him with the podcast. He said, I think Shakim is done with you though, T-Pre. He's fine. He's welcome to do that. He's entitled to that. You say, yeah, and it most likely you, Touch Code. Okay. You said, are y'all going to let T-Pre talk? Damn, you know it. They got to let me talk, jacking for wrenches. You said, good show. Thank you, Nova. I appreciate that. You said, wow, so many twists and turns. Exactly, keeping it plain. And this is why I need people to stop taking sides, right? Not that I'm saying you are. Let me take your comment off. I'm going to need people to stop taking sides and stop coming up with their own narratives and then spinning this and spinning that and saying this and saying that. Because no, the facts are the actual facts. That's just what it is. You said, how will Amun-Ra University respond? I don't know, but hopefully it'll be facts this time, as opposed to this pretending we don't know what's going on. And, well, what really happened? And, oh my God, was she really duping me? Was she really taking advantage of me? You are well aware of what was going on with this podcast from both of us. You said, peace, keeping it plain. Yeah, I appreciate you coming in the building, keeping it plain. You said, keep bringing the receipts because they are speaking in volumes. Exactly. And I got other shit where that comes from too. You said, Alan, salute, sir. And you said, jacking for wrenches. I don't know who you are. I've been told you were Scarlett, but I think Scarlett doesn't mind actually coming in here under her real name. So I don't know who you are, but what's happening with you? And if you don't know what happened, you might want to go ahead and rewind the whole 2 hours of this video. Again, guys, I truly appreciate all of y'all for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching and always being a loyal watcher of the show. Right now, we've got 52 people in the building. Make sure that you guys are hitting the like button on the way out. Guys, listen, I will talk to you guys later. Again, I appreciate you guys. And peace, guys.